All right, so this is kind of where we left off with the last video there. There's that statement made at the very end about angle 1 and being 8, angle 1 and angle 8 being the same. And since I've proven that, I actually don't need to prove it again if I give it a name. And we all have to kind of use the same names as a convention, but I could make a statement like this. Okay, so I could say that alternate exterior angles are equal. I'm calling these alternate exterior angles because here is the one parallel line, there's the other one. The angles I'm talking about are on the exterior of those, in other words, on the outside of those parallel lines, and alternate because they're on alternate sides, different sides of the transversal. This is the transversal right there. And so I might abbreviate that as all like that. Alternate exterior angles are equal. Okay, so I can use that now because I've already proven it. I can use it in future proofs if I need to. Okay, and you may have heard of this one as well. So the reason why angle 3 is equal to angle 6. You remember what that means? What's the reason for that? And if you remember from way back when, you'll remember that alternate interior angles are also equal. So alternate exterior angles are equal, alternate interior angles are also equal. What do you know about this? Angles 3 and 5, if you add them together, what do you get? Well, you do get 180 degrees. Those are called supplementary angles. Okay, and because angle 3 and 5, they're not alternate interior angles, they're just interior angles on the same side as the transversal, which is a big mouthful. So I should just say interior angles equal 180, like that. Okay, and so if I knew what angle 3 was, I could calculate angle 5 by just subtracting from 180. The textbook actually calls those co-interior angles. You could call it that as well if you want. To say co-interior angles equal 180. Same thing. Okay, and then one other one that you have to look at is triangles, which we know all the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So I can say angle x there is equal to 70. Yeah, sorry. So angle x is equal to 70 degrees because angles in a triangle add up to 180. And I just typically abbreviate that as angles in a triangle, like that. Okay, and so we can use a bunch of these. We're going to have develop this this kind of vast vocabulary, if you will, of different things that we know to be true. In other words, these are all those specific facts that we use to make like known facts, make specific statements, like with deductive reasoning is what we're going to be working on. So angles in a triangle add up to 180. Supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. Complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. All those specific facts are going to help us to use deductive reasoning to solve problems, which is what we're going to be looking at in the. I'll do an example here, and then we'll do some more examples in the next video. Okay, so this would be a type of problem that you'd be expected to solve or to give a proof of eventually. And so to do this, we have to kind of make a bunch of statements with given justifications or reasons how we know those things. So you have to kind of start saying what you know, making all those statements that you know, and at the very end you're going to make a deduction. Your deduction is going to be angle A equals 90 degrees. So how are we going to do that? We'll start with what you've been given. That's some pretty obvious stuff. For example, I can just say that side AB, the line AB, is parallel to CD. That's been given because I've drawn it that way and I've shown you that they're parallel. Okay, well, since we know they're parallel lines, then that means that all those parallel line properties are also true. So I can also say this, okay, that angle EFG, that's EFG, that angle there is 40 degrees because it's an alternate interior angle to AEF. Okay, I can also make this statement here, which actually leads to the answer, which is angle A then has to equal 90 degrees because angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so I know this because alternate angles are equal, alternate interior angles are equal rather, which leads me to my conclusion, angle A is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, and this is kind of a step-by-step proof with geometry. I'll be seeing some of that in the next video. There's a couple of examples coming your way.